Hey guys, I am finally getting around to making this sort of addendum video for the Samurai rotation at 50. I noticed a lot of comments talking about rotations, which order to do the combos in, and the buffs, and all of that.
Okay, so let me just go over these buffs real quick because I didn't mention them at all in my first video. Now basically every time you use the second skill in any of these combos, you're going to get a buff or a debuff, and there's 3 total obviously. So we have a speed buff, we have an attack buff, and then we have like the slashing debuff. Now for the Ka one, you're going to get it from Shifu. This is going to be your speed buff. And then there's going to be Jinpu, which is going to give you your attack buff, which is going to increase damage dealt by 10%. And then Yukikaze actually gives a debuff that reduces target slashing resistance by 10%. So these are important and they do factor in. Now I think the big question is which exactly is better to buff your Higanbana dot with, the speed buff or the attack buff? Because whichever one you do first is obviously going to be used to buff your dot. Now, I wanted to consider that using the speed buff might actually help the Higanbana do more damage faster, and so I tested it, and I tested it, and I tested it, and I mean, I tested it over and over and over again, and it was not easy, because most of the time the mobs would just, die before I could even finish my Iijitsu. So, there were lots of times where I had to go kill another mob after that to clear it. to clear all my sen. So after all of that vigorous testing, I found that using the attack combo first is definitely the most DPS. So you want to make sure that that dot has the damage buff. If you don't do that, it's going to drop your DPS quite significantly. So make sure that you have that Higanbana buffed. Now going down the road at 70, it is theorized that opening up with the speed buff is a must, and you consume that sen with Hagakure, but you don't get that skill until 68. After that, you'd use your damage buff, and you'd use your Higanbana, and then you would use your Meikyo Shisui. And then you would, get your freebie basically, and then start the whole rotation again, going towards 3 sen. So this is what I have so far. I'm still not really sure where to fit in the Meikyo Shisui in this rotation at 50. I just kind of try to fit it in whenever I have my buffs going long enough that they won't run out while I'm doing that whole part of the rotation. This seemed like a good time to use it, and I just barely kept all of my buffs up. And that's what I've been doing. I think that's going to work out the best. At least it works out the best for me. I'm not going to worry too much more about it. I'm just going to work on getting to 70 so that I can get my real rotation together with all of the skills that I'm going to have. I put this video together, both videos now, just to help people out to get a better understanding, and I wanted to make a second video because I never explained the buffs. Another thing worth mentioning that I never explained is Agiha, which is a finisher. It's basically like kill shot, under 20% health, you can use it. And of course you've got this where you can throw. It's just basic ranged attack. And also, when it comes to the AoE, you're probably going to want to make sure that you have your Jinpu buff up. So try and throw on a Hakaze Jinpu, and then do your AoE. Alright?
Oh, the pensive samurai sits beneath the cherry blossom tree.
Sorry, guys. I couldn't resist. Well, if you're not already 70, have fun getting there. And if you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe. And I have to haul some butt getting to 70 myself. The worst part is that I haven't really decided which class I want to level to 70.